On November 7th, 2009, my son Casey, who is 3.5, will soon be moving into a new bedroom with a transportation theme: cars, trucks, and planes. I wanted to add something special to make it truly unique, so I decided to suspend a large airplane from his ceiling. However, traditional plastic models, which I usually build, were too small for this project. That led me to try something completely new: a balsa wood kit. To be honest, I've never built a balsa wood model before or even considered it. But after some searching, I settled on the Fokker DR1 triplane for a few reasons. First, this particular kit is laser cut, making assembly much easier since the parts simply pop out. Second, I got a great deal. It was on sale for 30 Canadian dollars, down from 50. And finally, who could resist the classic Red Baron triplane? Over the next few months, I'll be working with new materials, learning new skills, and hopefully turning my passion for model building into something that sparks Casey's imagination and curiosity. I began assembling the body of the triplane using a new type of glue called UHU Heart. It's a product I've never used before, but I was told it's excellent for working with balsa wood because it dries quickly and clear. The glue is made in Germany, and the instructions on the tube are written in German, Greek, and 2 other languages I couldn't identify. No English or French, which made me a bit skeptical. At $10 for a small 35 milliliter tube, I wondered if it would be worth it. However, just as the hobby shop expert promised, it works exceptionally well. No buyer's remorse here. By November 14, 2011, I had finished cutting and gluing the ribs to the fuselage of the aircraft. I have to say, I'm pleasantly surprised by how quick and enjoyable the building process has been so far. The fuselage took a total of 4 hours and 27 minutes to complete. By January 17th, I had completed the first of the 3 wings, the largest one. The assembly went smoothly. Initially, I was unsure about smoothing out the edges, thinking it might require extensive sanding. However, I quickly discovered that sanding balsa wood is surprisingly easy and only took a few minutes. The total build time for this wing was exactly 2 hours. 2 days later, I completed the rudder, which took me 38 minutes. It was a bit tricky because I had to glue the entire outer frame at once while ensuring everything stayed perfectly aligned. By January 26th, I had completed the stabilizer for the triplane, which took me 58 minutes to build. It was a bit challenging as the outer frame had to be assembled from multiple parts before adding the inner ribs. This proved to be a similar experience to building the rudder, but on a larger scale. Thankfully, with the help of some tape, I managed to keep everything aligned and ensured the entire piece stayed flat. On February 2nd, 2010, I completed the assembly of the bottom wing. While it was simpler than some of the previous parts, I still had to pay close attention to ensure everything lined up correctly. The laser cut parts made the process easier, and after some sanding and finishing, the wing came together nicely. 12 days later, I completed the assembly of the mid-wings. Having already built the bottom and top wings, I'm starting to get the hang of this. Despite the DR1 being called a triplane due to its 3 main wings, it actually has a 4th wing hidden in the landing strut, as seen here. After extensive research and testing several techniques, I concluded that the best method to cover the plane was to use a simple glue stick with tissue paper, followed by spraying a light mist of water. By June 12th, I completed covering the wings and applied Krylon clear finish from a spray can. I also tested the traditional method of using dope to cover the aircraft. While it provided good results, the product earns its name for a reason. The strong fumes and less forgiving nature made it much more difficult to work with compared to the non-toxic glue stick and Krylon spray. In the end, the choice was clear for me. 6 days later, I completed the landing strut, which proved to be very complicated to cover with tissue due to the strut sticking out of the 4th wing. All I can say is that a bit of patience and a lot of cutting did the trick in completing this section of the aircraft. Despite the difficulty, the challenge made it a fun sub-assembly to work on. As is tradition, the artist must sign his masterpiece. The signature can be found just below the machine guns. Here I am, outside in my backyard on a sunny Sunday afternoon, June 27, 2010, spraying the completed body of the DR1 with Krylon to harden the tissue. To make the process easier, I attached the rubber band used to spin the propeller to a coat hanger. Fast forward to January 8th, 2011. I was ready to pick up where I had left off several months ago and continue working on the Triplane project. While setting up the plane and gathering some cardboard to begin spray painting it red, I accidentally knocked it over. It took a 3-foot nosedive and crashed into the floor. My wife, who was upstairs, heard a few curses and rushed down to see what happened. The damage was mostly limited to the top wing, but it was significant. The struts broke, pierced the top tissue, and the wing fell off. I managed to glue it back on, and I'll assess tomorrow what tissue needs replacing. Let's just say I wasn't in the best of moods. Well, after the previous day's nightmare event, I carefully examined the damage and began determining the repairs that would be needed. For now, I've removed the damaged sections. A few days later, I decided that I would need to add new tissue to the damaged sections. I also took the opportunity to address another issue with the wings that I hadn't been happy with. Might as well make the best of a bad situation. The 2 white sections on top of the wings had been painted flat white, but unfortunately underneath was a gloss red coat, which caused an undesired cracking effect. It was subtle but noticeable, so I decided to remove those sections. I'll add new tissue and repaint them with a gloss white finish. Fast forward to July 3rd, 2011. With everything repaired, I finally found the right moment to go outside, as it had been weeks that the weather was not cooperative. No wind, not too hot, and not too cold. I painted the repairs from the January crash and finished the white areas. Everything is looking good. The next day, I finally placed the iron crosses on the triplane. I had been waiting a long time to get to this point, and I'm happy to say it really added a lot of personality to the aircraft. 10 days later, on July 14, 2011, I reached my goal of completing the project in time for Casey's 5th birthday on the 18th. My wife kept saying it would be close, and with only 4 days left, I'm happy to say it's finished. It wasn't an easy build, but it was a lot of fun, and it will look great hanging from his ceiling. I had some difficulties getting the propeller to spin properly, but thanks to a paper clip, I managed to make it work. The machine guns look menacing too. I can't wait to present it to him at the party. Today's the day. At the last minute, I had to repaint the nose section since the propeller had rubbed on the white area when I was adjusting it with a paper clip a few days ago. A lot of masking and a can of spray paint did the trick, and everything looks good now, though I did have a bit of a panic with family arriving shortly. Tonight's the night to present the gift. I hope this unique present will please Casey. According to my notes, it took me 35 hours to build, not counting any research time. On July 18, 2011, for my son Casey's 5th birthday, I finally present him with his World War I Red Baron Fokker DR-1 triplane. He absolutely loved it, especially the spinning propeller. Happy birthday, Casey! About a month later in late August, we were at an amusement park in Quebec City, and Casey wanted to go on a plane ride. I can't help but wonder if his choice at the amusement park had anything to do with his birthday gift. At the time of making this video, Casey, now 18, has developed a passion for aviation over the years and wants to pursue a career as a flight regulator. While it's a bit brittle, I carefully dust it twice a year, and it's still proudly displayed on his bedroom ceiling. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you taking the time to check out my video. I hope you enjoyed it, perhaps learned something new, or even inspired you. Until next time, keep on scale modeling.